Welcome to Let's Save on a Teacher's Salary. My name is Asanda and I've been permanently employed in the Eastern Cape since May 2023 at the age of 34, going on 35, and now I am 36. So, here's the deal. I haven't posted videos because I didn't want to talk about this until I was sure. What's happening is that my mother's house, which I've been saving for, and I almost have it, I'm like at 65,000 Rand. I almost have the money for starting renovations at a house. Unfortunately, the paperwork is still stalling. And as we have checked now what's going on with the lawyers and property transfer and all that stuff, it seems like it's still going to take a while. Okay, so we've had to involve more lawyers and stuff. So I said to my mom, while we're pushing this, let's be doing something else that I was going to do anyway afterwards. So I decided to take my grandmother's yard and put it first, because I want to fence that yard. Guys, in the 34 years of my life, my grandmother's yard has never been fenced. And now my mother tells me, as I'm telling her that I want to fence that yard, she's like, oh, in the 64 years she's been alive, it's never been fenced. I'm like, wait, it's never been fenced at all. So we're going to fence it. Bring some dignity to the place. Because it looks like abandoned and the people living there. Okay, so my grandmother has 2 yards. And it's just one in front of the other like that. And I have to fence all of them. I cannot fence one and leave the other, because the one in front is my grandmother's, and the one at the back is when my grandfather died and my grandmother got married to his brother. So they're 2 sitting like this, and my grandmother doesn't live in my grandfather's yard. She lives there. That one is a bit abandoned. So what we're going to do is, since my mom lives there now, we're going to fence the whole thing, and my mom likes to plant and do all that stuff. So I'm just going to fence everything, and then they can continue living at the back, and we can and plant from the garden of the back one all the way to the front, and she can pretend to be a farmer. She's always loved that thing anyway, and she wants to continue start again farming chickens. So I'm gonna go do that next. I'm gonna try and build her a proper structure for farming chickens. But right now I'm gonna fix the one for the garden, because that one is easier. So we're gonna fence the yard, which is going to be good, and it's gonna make the whole entire yard look alive again. And then I'm gonna get a tractor to come and just, and then she's gonna be on her own with that. And then I'm gonna try and get like a tiny little structure where she can start her chickens again, because I think it's time my mother retired. When my mother retired at 55, she retired to take care of my father, which we were grateful for. Had she not done that, my father would not have lived the time he had lived, and was able to establish a beautiful relationship at that time with my brothers. And I'm so grateful for that. I've always had a wonderful relationship with my father, even since I was born. But when the younger ones came, it seemed like my father and them just never... They were fine, because my dad was accommodating, and my brothers are fine. They have the personality of my parents. But we saw that the relationship they weren't as close. We realized this when my father got sick and started staying at home with them. And that's when they got to know each other properly. And I was so grateful for that. But then at the same time, that was taxing on my mother, She had to take care of my father. And unlike my grandmother, my mom is taking care of my grandmother right now. But unlike my grandmother, my father was a lot of work. So since he died in 2019, my mom has been staggering. And I think now she's found out what she wants to do. She wants to go back and live with her mother and plant vegetables and farm chickens, and I am okay with that. But I want to give her something different this time. I want to provide her with a beautiful place that is, well taken care of, like fenced, and a building to farm her things, and she can take it from there. She is my mother, and I'm childless and husbandless. What am I going to do with my life? Really. I'm not even materialistic and stuff like that, so I might as well do this for my mother. And I'm fulfilled. It's fulfilling. It is. It is fulfilling. Before I go on and waste my money on overseas clothes, I want to do this. Anyway, so that means that I still have to start over saving for my mother's house, because now we're spending this money. I'm also not putting any more money in this, but I will be starting on the Frank app. Remember, I did say I'm going to start my what is this thing now? Retirement deposit. So I'm going to make deposits into the retirement, and but we'll do a separate video, because I'm still planning on what other investments that I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out like how much is again is going into saving for a deposit for a car, how much is going to go to the retirement and all of that stuff. I'm still trying to sort it out in my head and have it written down and follow a plan. But for now, the money that is already saved is going to go straight into my grandmother's yard. And my mother, who never wants anything, suddenly says, buy a fridge as well while I'm fencing. So I have to have like 5,000 rand for a fridge now. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, I guess. And also my brother, my youngest brother and me, we're going there to my grandmother's place when I close school. So I'm taking my brother with me. He enjoys being in the rurals. All right, so I'm gonna take him with me this time because he always complains like, oh, if you don't have money in the rurals, it's not nice. So I was like, no, I'll take you with me. I have a bit of money. I'll take you with me. Then you can stay there with me, and then when I come back, you can also come back. And that is the story. That is what is happening. Okay. Let's talk what's happening so far. So far, my mother has already gone to the hardware. She had to go to the one like not so close because they didn't have the poles that I wanted. I wanted really tall ones with that that got that coating, that black coating. Now I forget what it is because we have those wood eating thingy. We don't have it on our yard, but the village on some places it has it. So I don't want to take any chances. So yeah, we do have that. So I wanted the poles, the treated poles, and also on the ground I want them to be fitted in with a cement. So that's what we're also getting. So the people who came and they estimated, they said that they for now are estimating 200 poles. So that's just the boundary. That's got nothing to do with cutting off the people where they live and where there's the garden and where we're going to plant. That's got nothing, none of that. That's going to be later. No gates, no nothing, just the poles and the just the poles and the gate. No, just the poles and the cement. And we're still going to buy sand. I'm still waiting on my mother for that one. So the poles and the cement, 200 poles and bags of cement. It was in transport to deliver it was, they said I must pay 20,280. And then they were like, okay, we're going to give you a discount of 480 rand. So they made me pay 19,800 rand in total, which was amazing that they even cared to give me the discount. But, still 20,000 rand. And then the labor, the people who came to say they're going to start digging, they started digging today, guys. They're like, today they started digging. They said their labor is 3,000. So this just includes installing the fence, the poles and the fence. So yeah, and that's how much I'm paying, 19,800 to get the whole yard fenced with the poles only. And then I'm going to have to buy wire later. We don't want anything sitting on the yard because in my experience, the people who live there usually sell things. So we don't want that. I will be asking them to send me clips of what's happening, but I don't think they'll be worthy. Like they'll show the way I want to show. Because I'm only going after school closes, and that is school closes on the 13th. So on the 13th and then on the 14th, I'll sleep at my mother's house. And then on the 15th, I'll take my brother with me to my grandmother's place. And then I'll be able to start vlogging the whole thing then. But until then, I cannot. So if you have any questions or requests or whatever, if you want to hear the story of how my grandmother ended up with two brothers, married to two brothers, she's 90, she doesn't care. Okay. Yeah, and most of my mom's siblings have died. It's not like it's just the grandkids now, they don't care. Some of them don't even know the story. Yeah. And how now my grandmother having two husbands is now costing me double. Because if she had 1 yard, I would be fencing 1 yard and it would be half what I'm paying, you know. I probably would have paid like 9,000 for the poles and cement, and then maybe 2,000 or 1.5 for the labor. And that did I mention I'm going to try, like when they're done, I'm going to assess the whole situation and see if I can like give them like an extra bonus. It's December, guys, they're doing this in December. I'm so grateful that they were like, oh no, we'll do this in December, we don't mind, like at the beginning of December. So they're like, nah, they're gonna do that, it's fine. I'm so glad that they were able to let us, well, they are related to my grandmother. but not closely related, and that's why my mother wanted them. But also she also knows they work, so that kind of played very well. Yes, so that's it for now on this fencing my grandmother's yard and putting my mother's house on pause. Bye bye.